Guess what? If you want more out of life, you better start respecting yourself. Do you lack self-respect? I bet you most of you listening, self-respect is a big time area that you need to face. You need to face yourself where you're not respecting yourself. You're allowing other people to mistreat you. And ultimately, in doing that, the signals you're sending to the universe, Great Spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, the energy you're sending out there is that, right, you're not worthy of respect. And a lot of people get frustrated because it's so hard for us to realize that every experience is a mirror. I just had this happen to me with a very short-lived connection with someone where I started getting the silent treatment. I think nowadays we call it ghosting. And I'm grateful for that because what I learned in the silence is that there was insecurity and codependency issues that I needed to work on. Because when someone uses silence on you, and I've used silence, that's what I'm trying to get to, is it's a mirror. I have been someone that's used the silent treatment. Where does that come from? Where's the origin of the silent treatment? The origin of the silent treatment comes from when we were children. Most likely you were punished in isolation, right? And you didn't have caregivers that were able to meet your needs, that didn't allow a safe space for you to express your needs, to be heard, to be seen, to be cared for at an emotional level. You had unemotionally available caregivers. And thus, I can remember, like anytime I think of my childhood, I remember being in my closet, in my room, by myself, crying, sad, lonely, afraid. And yet I realized that as a grown-ass man, this is how I always tie this shit together from my childhood. I realized that the childhood has now allowed me to be, when I'm in a situation, if I'm operating from a place of scarcity, of low self-esteem, low self-worth, lack of self-respect, then guess what? I am going to tolerate these types of behaviors from other people because like attracts like. It's the law of attraction. So first, anything that you're experiencing that's frustrating you, can you stop for enough time to see what it is that's frustrating you on the outside? It could be a person that you work with. It could be a family member. It could be a politician you have no idea about, that you think you know it all. It could be a celebrity, a sports star. It could be a lover. The things that irritate you and cause you emotional stress by interacting with other people, it is absolutely a mirror, full-length mirror reflection of things you do. And it takes a lot of clarity. That's the mental piece. I'm not going to stop talking about the mental being number one stop. You got to clear the mind to see clearly in the mirror so that you can start addressing the issues in your life. And I just literally had a breakthrough healing because I was connecting with somebody very early talking stages, and I started getting the silent treatment. And man, I was like, I'm like all up in my head trying to figure it out. And lo and behold, I realized just now through breath work, right? The breath work, the power of the breath, you guys. I realized just now that I've used that that I've been the guy using the fucking silent treatment. And where does that come from? Again, when you don't feel seen and heard, and you are afraid to say the right things or the wrong things, you shut down. And you're unable to communicate your basic needs. I have no problem if someone's like, hey, I'm processing, and I don't care what stage it is. A lot of people write it off saying, oh yeah, it's early stages. You know, you shouldn't expect to hear from somebody. That's too much. That's not too much. A healthy person that knows how to communicate their needs, if someone's able to say, hey, I'm overwhelmed. I have a lot on my plate. I need some time and space to myself. Let's talk later, right? That's healthy communication. Unhealthy communication is just shutting the fuck down and not responding, right? And that's something that I know I deserve and I need. And maybe you feel the same way. But in order for you to deserve someone that does have those communication skills, guess what? You got to be willing to have those communication skills. And here's the thing. I realize I do have those communication skills. But when I attract someone that doesn't, right? It's not a judgment on them. It's a reflection to say, am I willing to tolerate that? Which is a lack of self-respect. Am I willing to tolerate bringing in somebody that may seem like the perfect person, but yet they can't communicate their needs? And yet, do I want to have that person in my life? And the answer is no. You need to be able to communicate your needs, because I want to be someone that as I've healed, as I've continued down this healing journey, communication has been such a huge expansion. And that may come as a surprise to many of you, because here this guy is talking all day long, but it's in those intimate relationships where I have those trigger points, where I have abandonment issues, I have rejection issues, where I have self-sabotage time and time and time again. And yet, as I have healed, this is the beautiful thing, is I realize I'm being tested, right? I told you this whole experience of life is a big test. And there's not like a grading scale. It's pass or fail. You pass or fail the test. If you fail the test, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that you have more work to do. And again, you show people what you'll tolerate. And if you're someone that's going to tolerate bad behavior, then guess what? You deserve that. But there's a lesson on both sides. And until you get to a place where you will no longer tolerate things that otherwise that lack in self-respect, you're going to continue to have the lessons that you need to heal yourself, to awaken to a place where you see these things now, and there's not judgment. There's no judgment in my heart. There's nothing but love. I literally was able to express to this person that, look, I thank this person, because I know that when people come into our lives and they trigger insecurities and, emotions at a deep level, and this is usually in intimate relationships, these are our trainers. And even if it's just that tiny little lesson, it's like, oh man, I just passed a lesson. I just realized that, wait, I'm attracting in someone that is unable to communicate using silent treatment. And yet that is something that I have used, but I am open to having a growth mindset, to learning and growing and saying my voice matters. My truth, it's safe to speak my truth. It's safe to express my needs. And now that I have set that as a standard, I am telling the universe, that I no longer need that test. I no longer need to have people coming into my life that do not know how to communicate at any stage of the connection their needs. Because at the end of the day, I know what my needs are. Do you know what yours are? Do you even know what your needs are? A lot of you don't even know what your needs are. That would be a great journaling exercise, an assignment for today, this week, especially as we're moving into the big full moon coming up, depending on when you're watching this. Anytime there's a full moon, that's a full reflection. That's a full reflection. And thus, it's a great time for you to reflect. What are your needs? List it all out. Now, here's the thing. It's our responsibility to meet our own needs. No one else is tasked for taking care of your needs on this planet. It's a beautiful thing that when you find connection, call it a relationship, and you can meet each other's needs. I haven't always been the best at that. Why? Because guess what? I probably didn't even know what my needs were. But now I do. I do know my needs. And I also know that I will no longer tolerate broken people, people that don't have the ability to communicate, right? People that are looking for me to be their savior. I'm not here to save nobody. We got to save ourselves. However, I can walk any distance with anyone, but you got to do the work. And whether you're in my personal life or whether you're here just in this grand community, which is a global community of people that are searching and sifting themselves. You got to be searching and sifting in yourself to find out who you truly are. What will you tolerate? What will you no longer tolerate? And all of that is an exact reference to your self-respect. And yet you're telling the universe what should show up in your life solely based on your own level of self-respect, which should give you some hope to say, guess what? You got a lot of power. You have an ability inside of you to make the adjustments. You don't need other people to make the adjustments, but other people showing up into your life are absolutely going to present a mirror of who you are and the things that you're doing. And when we're so externalized, disassociated with our bodies and our own emotional wounds, guess what? We become victimized when someone mistreats us. We say it's blame them, and it's like, no, we have to blame ourselves. What you're seeing in them exists in you. It's unresolved, it's unhealed, and even if you are stepping into a stage like me of healing and releasing these things in terms of who I'm showing up as, you're going to be tested to make sure that that lesson is reinforced, that you truly are ready to release that pattern from showing up in your life. It's a reoccurring thing. It's going to show up to say, hey, are you sure you're sure? Are you sure you're done with toxic relationships? Are you sure you're done with unhealthy mind, body, and soul? Because those temptations, right? You could call them temptations. They're going to show up to test you, to see if you're really, really meaning what you say and saying what you mean. That's an old lesson, but that counts for everything. Walk the walk if you're talking the talk. And that is what I'm holding myself accountable for, right? Recently, I got called out. I got called out because I dropped the ball. This is a total confession to all of you that I am not perfect, if you haven't figured that out yet. Far from it. But I strive for excellence. That's 1% better every day. Well, check this out. I launched the 1% better every day journal back in around Christmas. And yet it was a spontaneous download. It's like, boom, it came through. I designed it, I put in all the effort, and yet I made a decision that I wanted to support you, the listener, the learner, the student, with high quality content, video content, in terms of the program, from the self-sabotage to the self-mastery component. Well, clearly by designing that thing spontaneously in the matter of a few weeks in December, I didn't record 40 videos or whatever's in there. And I had someone that locked in, never missed a day, which I bet you that might not be you, but this person was so fucking locked in. They never missed a day. And I was trying to keep pace with this person in recording the videos real time, because this is the first season of putting the product out there. Well, guess what? They beat me to the 91 days for me to complete the videos. And I got called the fuck out. And that was a huge fire under my ass for me to say, damn, you're talking a lot of talk, but in this particular circumstances, you hadn't finished what you started. And I can see that I hit what's called an upper limit problem. There's a book called The Big Leap, where when we start to heal, when we start to raise up and ascend in life, right, that gravity beneath us starts to feel uncomfortable. Our identity can still be rooted emotionally in the comfort of whatever we've been complacent with. And what do? We self-sabotage. And I caught myself doing that, where it was like I was right there. I was short 4 videos, and I didn't just finish strong. I fucking pulled up. And this person beat me to the finish, and I heard everything they had to say about how I was full of shit and that I'm not living the truth. And yet I don't make excuses for that. That's why I'm sharing this with all of you. I will tell you that the videos have been completed. So the entire 1% Everyday Journal is ready, locked and loaded. All the lessons are in there now. And I feel like a 10,000 pound gorilla is off my back because I followed through. But I needed that hard lesson for someone to hold me accountable, to say, fuck, there's people counting on you, bro. This ain't just about you no more. So if you don't feel like doing the videos, guess what, man? You're fucking other people up. And that's what I feel like I did in this situation. So if you're watching this video, I am so sorry for letting you down, for being a disappointment. I am human. And I don't have an excuse other than the fact that by messing up that person, that's going to make me better for all of you. And it already has. This just happened a few days ago. And so I already have locked in, and I feel more clear. I needed that. And I could have 1,000 reasons as to why. But at the end of the day, I just know that I take full responsibility for my actions. And I'm also seeing that when something isn't working for me, I have to filter it through the lens of saying, do I lack my own level of self-respect? That I will no longer tolerate mistreatment at any level of connection, whether it's business, platonic, romantic, I don't care. And I know that I'm also going to be tested, and you will too. You are going to be tested every step of the way to make sure that you are truly walking the walk, not just talking the talk. We got a lot of talkers out there, but honestly, there's probably very few walkers, and that's why a lot of you have been burned, are skeptical of content creators like this, because it's like, you know, there's a lot of people just fucking talking and you don't really know what's what. who to trust, who to count on. Well, here's the thing. You don't need us. You don't need me. You need you. You have all the answers that you need on the inside of who you are. Can you get quiet enough? Can you get still enough to allow for those voices to be heard, to allow for your intuition to be received by you? You have the answers to everything inside of you. You don't need anything outside of you, including me or anyone else. If you can get quiet enough, you have a higher guide that is here to serve you, that is here to direct you towards the best path every single day. I'm just an extension of that. I'm doing my best because real time, I am still healing some really deep residual stuff. I feel like I've done the big purges, right? The big releases, but there's still fine tuning happening. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because it's helping me to decode more and more and more and more so that I can develop the master plan for guidance and support to help people break through their own barriers of emotional wounding and trauma. And I hope to be able to do that coming up with the Breath of Life Healing Circle group that's going to be starting in May. If you're interested and ready to start breaking through some of your barriers, I highly encourage you to check it out. Sign up, snag yourself a seat, and come ready to reflect, to connect, to visualize, and to breathe, and ultimately to heal. And you don't have to do it alone. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it won't be worth it. Greg's out.